Hello, beautiful yogis, and welcome. I'm glad you're here because we're going to relax together. We're going to do a few of the restorative poses, and then we'll go into that deepest relaxed place that we know as Yoga Nidra. So let's choose this pose if you like today. That is the 2 blocks with the 1 set at middle setting. Sometimes people want it for a high setting, but most of us can manage with that block at a middle setting, and then the second block is that low setting. And then we'll place a blankie over it, head here, and middle back here, and then we need to leave a little well for shoulders and arms. So this is an alternative to the open book shape. I find it very opening to this area, the sternum area, and this is very much a point of focus in tonight's class. So we lie back. Make sure that that middle block is right at the tips of your shoulder blades and that your head is just a little higher. So if you have a slightly rounded upper back, as I do, you would want your pillow block a little higher, because what we don't want is your head tilting back with your chin high. And then the option for letting your legs straighten out, to use the bolster underneath your knees, or to keep your knees bent. So this is our opening pose. I invite you to get into it and arrange your props until you feel comfortable. If this feels too hard and not soothing, please feel free to go back to the open book pose where we have the bolster along the length of the spine instead of the hard blocks. As you arrive, close your eyes, settle into your body, and become aware of your own body in this moment. And if there are any aches and pains, any vulnerable places, just allow them to be there, allow them to come into your awareness and meet them with kindness. Let's take a deep nose breath in. Nice full breath capacity, the little holding moment. Through your pursed lips, blow the breath away smoothly, long and steady. Nose inhalation. A little moment of fullness, and then blowing the breath away. One more time this way. Deeply, fully in through your nose, little holding moment. And then blow the breath away, all the way smoothly out. And as this breath ends, come into your body and see if your shoulders might drop and your legs might come into deeper ease. Let your breath flow naturally as you feel into your body here at this moment. So in this position we have a lot of open stretching, widening through the ribs. The breath opens us from the inside. Tucked into our rib cage are the spongy tissue of the lungs. And also tucked in is that vital part of our anatomy where it all begins in utero, our heart. Breath and heart are intertwined. letting your breath be slow and deep. Now I'm going to invite you to bring your hands to your bottom ribs. So you can almost get your hands under your bottom ribs and then follow your rib cage to the center line, and you'll notice that there's a slight upward moving. And as the hands start to approach each other, you might feel there a little point. It's a very sensitive point, so don't press too hard on it. And now if you walk up the middle with your fingers, this is this cartilaginous soft bone that we call the sternum, and that is the middle of the rib cage, and it actually takes us all the way to the little hollow at the throat. But the point I am wanting to bring our awareness to is that sensitive point right at the end of the sternum. It's like a little point that points down. And so we will be meeting that area in our practice today. As we rest in this shape and continue to breathe slowly and deeply, feeling into the body, into the breath, and how the slow breathing immediately brings us into deeper quietude, calm. I came across a piece of writing by one of my favorite poets and writers on yoga, and I love him because he links the cosmos in with the tiniest details in our body. And this piece that I'm going to share with you today is specifically about the Zai pose. The Zai pose is that little point at the end of your sternum. And the name of the poet is Fred de la Motte. And so as you rest and breathe, just allow the words in. For a little while each morning and evening, says Fred, I vow to let go of all doing, all thinking, and reconnect with pure being. Let go of effort, concentration, and repetition. Let go of tradition and expectation. Let go of everything and plunge into thingless silence, where I am no longer a creature, for I have come home to the uncreated, where I am not an object, and there is no noun after the verb to be, where the pilgrim has returned to the beginning of his journey, and it is the end. I no longer look for that place, I look from that place. And so as you rest and breathe, beautiful yogis, have a sense of looking from that place. You all know it. We've been there. We've been there together. And you've been there many times as a yogi. We're no longer looking for a place. I look from that place. I see the whole cosmos happening around me. But this is not who I am. I am the seer. I see the whole cosmos happening within me. This is not who I am. I am the seer. In my mind, I see the chaos of 10,000 thoughts, the residue of 10,000 lifetimes. This is not who I am. I am the seer. In my body, I see trillions upon trillions of sparkling atoms dancing through stillness. And this is not who I am. I am the seer. Let mind, body, moon and stars do the dance. This is not who I am. I am the seer. I am the witness at the center of the world. And what is called the cosmos is but an after-image, flashing in a silent bolt of lightning up my spine. And for an instant that stretches from one end of eternity to another. So as you rest and breathe and feel your breath, remember, you are the seer. I am the seer. So we're going to stay in this, either the open book shape or this open heart, as I pose a little longer. And Fred goes on. Now, let us get very specific, very local, for we only enter the non-local, the boundless, through the infinitesimal vanishing point of focus. At the tip of my sternum, just beneath my heart and just above my diaphragm, is that diamond point of the sword. The Bible calls this the sword of the word. The Hindus call it the sword of Shiva. In Tibet, the Vajra sword. Western anatomy calls the lower tip of the sternum the zyphoid process, from the Greek zyphos, meaning sword. The sternum is a sword pointing downwards towards the gentle, wound-like indentation at the center of the chest. Now let this exhalation be a gentle sword that pierces my heart, following the point of the sternum down into this vulnerable hollow place, this wounded valley, where I let go of I and plant the seed of Christ. At the end of the out-breath is an instant of annihilation. Ancient yogic scriptures declare that all the worlds, both heavenly and earthly, burst out of this tiny dimensionless point, dying into this point, Bindu. Even for an instant, our awareness becomes eternal and outbounded. out of that seed, the next inhalation springs up a dragon of fire, a new creation. So feel into that, beautiful yogis, as you breathe. How this little part in our anatomy that we really haven't talked about much can be this doorway to the infinite, the doorway into eternity. Rest in that a moment. Feel free as you breathe to rest at the end of the exhalation, to drop into that eternity. To drop into the no breath place, the void, the hollow. To know that the inhale will rise again, and to feel it, to see it, to witness its reassuring energy as it fills us up. To treasure the full moment and then to let it go again. Aware again of that very vulnerable little point in your anatomy that we call the xiphoes. Lovely, everyone. And so now we're gently going to come out of this opening shape. So slowly roll to your side or carefully come off those blocks, and we'll set up for the next shape, which is going to be, and we could put the blocks there, the end of the mat, and we're going to lie now with the head here and the bolster underneath the hips. So this is called supported bridge pose. So for this pose we have nothing under the head. If the bolster feels too big, know that you could use one low block under your sacrum instead. Get yourself set up and lie back, and feeling now the back of your heart and the back of your rib cage, your shoulder blades rest deeply and broadly and spaciously into the ground. Welcome the breathing. And as we settle into this shape, let's practice the triangle breath, which is a 6-count inhale, 6-count exhale, and 6-count pause at the end. See how that goes for you. The rising breath to fullness. The emptying breath, smooth and slow, the same length, approximately. And as we come to the end of the breath, we rest in no breath at all. Cycling through this triangle, it's an equilateral triangle. Each part of the breath, same number, which you can adapt to your body, to your breathing practice today. 5 or 6 or maybe 7 or maybe even 8. Play with this. And even as with curiosity we try these different breath lengths, I am the seer. Please stay with the breath practice a little longer in this supported bridge pose where your hips are raised. And as you complete this particular breath, let go the pattern. Come back into that witness, the seer. I look from that place. So beautiful. Nothing is needed. There's no effort. And as we stay just that little bit longer in this supported bridge pose, I'm just going to reread Fred de la Motte's beautiful prose about this very specific part of our anatomy. Here he goes. Now, let us get very specific, very local, for we only enter the non-local, the boundless, through the infinitesimal vanishing point of focus. At the tip of my sternum, just beneath my heart, and just above my diaphragm, is that diamond point of the sword. The Bible calls this sword of the word. The Hindus call it the sword of Shiva. In Tibet, the Vajra sword. Western anatomy calls the lower tip of the sternum the xiphoid process, from the Greek xiphos, meaning sword. The sternum is a sword pointing downwards towards the gentle, wound-like indentation at the center of the chest. Then, let this exhalation be a gentle sword that pierces my heart, following the point of the sternum down into this vulnerable hollow place, this wounded valley where I let go of I and plant the seed of Christ. At the end of the out-breath is an instant of annihilation. Ancient yogic scriptures declare that all the worlds, both heavenly and earthly, burst out of this tiny, dimensionless point. Dying into this point, bindu, even for an instant, our awareness becomes eternal and unbounded. And out of that seed, the next inhalation springs up a dragon of fire, a new creation. Jesus said, Amin, Amin, I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a seed. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Therefore, whoever clings to his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life will find it for eternity. That is from John, verse 12. He was not preaching theology or metaphysics, but describing sadhana, a spiritual practice. The sword of the spirit makes her gentle but fatal stroke when awareness descends from the mind into the heart, piercing even through the Hridaya chakra, the heart chakra, into the veil of tears at the center of my body, where thought dissolves. Through the perishing of me, silence blossoms. It is death for the mind, but life for the soul. The silence is vast, but the portal to it is a dimensionless dot between breathing out and in. Through the infinitesimal, we pass into the infinite. So beautiful, yogis. We're ready now to dismantle the supported bridge pose. So you just push your bolster down, and as your sacrum, another sacred place in the body, lands, just hug your knees in. You can have a hand on each knee and just kind of circle your knees together one way and then the other way. And then very gently we're going to roll to the side and set up for our next pose, which is going to be the seated forward bend. So make your tabletop using your high blocks and the bolster. A blankie to sit on. And as we do, finding the optimal distance from your support table to your sitting bones. so that just according to your body and your height and length and girth, you get settled in, comfy, supported, and your back, that great river of energy, that spinal column, can be long and extended, and your brow at rest. Feel into your breath. We'll practice the square breath here, letting go the triangle breath we did earlier now. The square breath, where 4 parts of the breath are equal in length. So you could go for a 4 count or a 5 count, 6 count. See what's right today. And so the breath gives us information about our capacity to be calm, and sometimes we are roughed up a little bit, agitated, triggered. Or we even have a cold. Something is in the way of the slow and calm breathing. Be with what is with you. Come into your practice. Square breath. Slow and mindful, continue your square breath breathing in the seated forward bend. as you complete this square breath, complete it, feel into your body and let go to dropping into stillness. Be the seer. Look from that place. And we know that place has no judgment, has no wanting. All is well, exactly as it is. Letting go the sense of I, me. Resting in stillness, infinity. This incoming breath, this indwelling, this visitation, how it comes, how it goes. Slowly make your way up. Go really slowly. Coming up from the forward bend, it's very sedating. So as we come up, try to hang on to that feeling of quietude. We're going to lie on the back now with legs over the table set up. So this is the elevated legs position. So your seat blanket can become your pillow blankie, if you like. And just let your legs hang over your tabletop or against the wall if you have a convenient place. Now the legs elevated, the spine relaxed along the ground, the upper body open and at ease. Linking in with that tiny little point of the sword, described and recognized in so many cultures. the feeling of being breathed as you rest. As you feel your legs in this elevated place drain their fatigue, their achiness. How this body, this temple where we live, reflects, echoes, includes the entire universe. How marvelous is that? And the teaching from Fred goes on. He becomes a little playful. To taste true life, the soul must root down into unmoving, uncreated, unknowable silence. Where is the entrance to this wound that leads to infinite healing? Here, where the tip of the blade pierces the center of my chest. Here I am not merely a human, but a human being. Is that a teaching? Very well then, let it be the simplest teaching, for I am the most foolish of teachers. This is the foolishness I teach. A goddess visits your body bearing a mighty sword, yet the sword is your own breath. And it is the Spirit of God. For the very word for spirit in the scriptures is also the word for breath. Let her melt your sternum into a pillar of moonlight with the fragrance of sweet myrrh. She who whirls the galaxies at the dawn of creation, the first mover in the stillness of God, now comes as your comforter, nearer to your heart than your very soul. Some call her Shakti, Shekinah, Ruh, Sophia, Magdalene, the bride of Christ. But her touch is more tender and lethal than any name. Beautiful yogis. Time again to move. We're going to come into the Nidra part of our practice. So dismantle your table and lie on your back. So comfy as in Shavasana, in the way that you are comfy. And of course this is a very, very neutral position that we like for Yoga Nidra, where your body is completely supported. Gravity takes us. The bolster will be nice just to support your low back as you lie, and your head is supported with a little pillowness in the nape of your neck. Just lay your body down and let yourself be held. And bringing awareness to the feeling of your breath at the heart, and you could amplify your heart breath. Knowing that as you amplify your heart breath, I am doing it too, and each one of us is doing it. So that we are connected in our heart breathing. We are united as one, and yet, mysteriously, each of us has this uniqueness. Each of us has our unique expression, our unique narrative. And so at this moment, remembering this is the week of Thanksgiving, and there is a profundity to the practice of Thanksgiving, in its essence, away from all the stories and non-stories and clumsinesses of families getting together or eating too much and all the other things that go on. Just the practice of gratitude. It is pure and has a very, very high frequency. And so feel your breath at your heart and bring in gratitude. You know it. You feel it. And then, out of this fullness of heart, perhaps there is an intention, something that you want to bring in. And you could phrase that as a simple statement in the present tense. Because in the quantum field it is already so. If we can imagine it, we can create it. And at this point we are simply intending it, placing it in the heart, placing that seed in the heart so it can grow. Do that 3 times, please. I'm going to be quiet. Beautiful yogis, we proceed now with rotation of consciousness. Invite you to bring attention to the very crown of your head, to the third eye point, to your right eyebrow and eyeball, to your left eyebrow and eyeball, to your right ear and inside the ear. And to your left ear and the internal passages of your left ear. Awareness now to your right cheekbone and your left cheekbone and the tip of your nose and your upper lip and your lower lip and the tip of your chin and your jawline. Sense your entire jawline. And come now to the hollow at your throat, your right collarbone, your right shoulder, down to your right elbow, wrist, palm of your right hand, and your right hand thumb. Let's go now to your right index finger, middle finger, the ring finger, and your little finger. Feel into your right hand, the back of it. Spend a little moment at your right hand. Come back to the hollow at your throat. Your left collarbone, your left shoulder blade, your left elbow, your left wrist, the palm of your left hand, your left hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger of your left hand, palm of your hand, back of your hand. Taking a little moment on your left hand. Bring your awareness back to the hollow at your throat and come down the bones of the sternum. Have a sense of that cartilaginous, soft bone that ends at that little arrow pointing down. And now awareness to your right breast and nipple, your left breast and nipple, your belly button, your pubic bone, your right hip pointer, your right buttock, your right thigh, right knee, right shin bone, ankle, the heel of your right foot, the sole of your right foot, and let's visit all the toes, beginning with the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, baby toe of your right foot. You might even feel into them, wiggle them. There they are. And the whole of your right foot, feeling into that. And please come now to your left hip pointer, going immediately to your left thigh, left knee, shin bone, left ankle, and the heel of your left foot, and the sole of your left foot. We come to that big toe, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and baby toe. Take a little moment to feel the entire left foot. Come now to the back of your head where it rests. The hollow, the medulla hollow at the back of your skull. And then the bones of your spine, your vertebrae, all the way down. Just trace your way slowly down the curves, the hollowing, down to that triangular bone, the sacrum, and there is the tailbone. Feel now the whole of your right back and the whole of your left back and your entire back as one. And how breathing is still happening. This incoming visitation, this loving Shakti, Shekinah, Sophia, Magdalene coming into you and going out, allowing you to rest and look from that place. How it happens again. And in the allowing, it happens again and again in the most beautiful way. How we can just be here. We have let go all doing, all thinking, and rest in pure being. I am the pilgrim who has returned to the beginning, and it is the end. I no longer look for that place, I look from that place. I invite you now to look from your heart. To look, to feel, to allow to arise from your heart, as does the breath, this rising of gratitude, of appreciation for all that is here. The place of fullness, of enough. And perhaps you remember your sankalpa. Bring it back into consciousness, back into memory, and speak it silently. How lovely it is to have this practice, to go deeply inward, to do it together, to do it in resonance with one another, to know that this deep place is within each of us, deeper than our uniqueness. Know, beautiful yogi, that you can stay here as long as you like. Perfectly lovely, there's no agenda. Or you could now bring your body and lie on your side and integrate this deep visit to our very depth that is both empty and full. Your body now curled up a little, ready to come back into time and space, renewed. So when you are ready, if you want to, come on up to sit, and we'll bring our hands together at the heart, thumbs into the sternum, feeling into the Xipho's point. In deep gratitude. Thank you, beautiful yogis, for spending this time. Have a beautiful week and a beautiful Thursday Thanksgiving. Namaste.